bring up the weather delay, meaning the game is finally over. It only took about 23 hours, but when it is done, it was supposed to be scheduled for a nice little poetic, if you will, Friday night under the lights. That didn't happen due to lightning in the area. They had to postpone it all the way to a 1 o'clock start today. But as you were saying, that didn't. It would have been cool. I mean, if I was a football player, I would love to play Friday Night Lights. That wasn't the case, but the team still comes out and holds Kent State to 3 points on the defensive side, and then on offense, they still put up 50-plus points. So it seems like there definitely wasn't no lack of energy or anticipation or eagerness to start the season.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like that delay affected them. I think they were jacked up to play yesterday, and a couple of guys talked about it, but you didn't really see them lose a step, and I think that was key because, like they said in the press conference, Friday's a normal day. So you got guys waking up for class at 6:30 and then playing an 8 o'clock game at night, which would have probably ended around midnight, but didn't happen. Then you got to come back early this morning, get all your reps in, your practice, taped up and go for a 1 p.m. slot. It's a lot to do, so kudos to these guys for going out there and trying to start the season on the right foot, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. But I think you don't want to take too much away from this game because, again, it still is Kent State, and not to knock their athletic program at all, just in terms of football opponents, this game was scheduled as the opener for a reason. So you look ahead, you take what you can from this, and hopefully keep applying it, keep guys healthy, and really see what you can do. And one more thing is just the day off really allowed you to make sure Jihad Ward was fully healthy. He was cleared yesterday right before, and then started tonight. Didn't really have a huge impact, but good to see that he's healthy because that's going to be a key guy going forward for you on defense on a day that the line really didn't have as big of a presence. Obviously, 3 interceptions by the defense did and solidified the ball game for you. But you'd like to see a little more pressure, especially if you couldn't get it against an FCS opponent. Got to get it against a Big Ten.
Quick question, like I said, 52-3 victory for the Illini, but is there anything we learned, or was it just all that was expected?
I think we expected them to win. I didn't think it was maybe in this capacity, but it was nice to see the defense get off early, and it was just really nice because this has been a Beckman-led bunch, and they were really fighting for him through the last 3 or 4 years here, and he's gone. And so you wanted to see how they would respond in week 1, and they came out flying. Mason Monheim on one of those first plays, coming in and sacking Raridan, was an incredible athletic play and showed you that he was ready for the season opener, especially after the craziness we all endured in last night's rainout.
And I definitely see, you did mention the critical eye, and with the penalties, I feel like that's just a week 1 issue. Because this basically is a new coaching staff. The identity of the coach has changed. Just by the press conferences, it feels like almost a different Illinois team. Obviously, the players and the playbook probably hasn't really changed all that much, but it's a little different. So I think that's just a product of, everyone's excited for the first game. The fans, the media, the players. But this was an even more anticipated game just because of the last 3 months and everything that's been surrounding this team. So I honestly think because they had, some delay of games, some false starts, so everyone was just a little bit caught up in the moment, and they were even more eager because we sat in that rain delay just praying that the game would actually happen. And I think it was just kind of getting edgy, and then they have a chance against Western Illinois, which is an FCS team, so no real competition for Illinois there to kind of get their stuff back together, and they're going to try to get it together for conference play. Where was the defensive line today? You could say, he was coming off an injury, and it was an injury that made it seem like he would maybe miss 2 weeks. He, somehow got back earlier, but they had, I think, the 1 sack early on, but I think that was just because Tim Banks or Mike Farrer, whomever, kind of called the play and said, why don't we just blitz everyone? They're all hungry. I mean, they were clearly amped when they were coming out of the tunnel, so they let him kind of go after him and got him. But other than that, there wasn't really much defensive line, and that was one of the big problems. They couldn't stop the run, and they couldn't get to the quarterback last season. So I feel like from that perspective, have things really changed? Have these guys gotten better? Joe Fotu had the suspension. He's not able to treat him up. And this is supposed to be kind of Jihad Ward's year, right? Some people are saying, he's gonna go and do better things. Maybe it is week 1. Maybe he is coming off of that kind of injury that is slowing him down. But it does kind of probably worry people because I'm not gonna knock a defense that only gave up 3 points to their offense putting up 52, but you have to wonder that if they can't sack, a MAC quarterback with a MAC offensive line, how are they ever going to do anything to Wisconsin when they come to town for homecoming?
Right, that's a good point. From a fan standpoint, what do you take away from this? Are you a little more excited, or how much is too much excitement? What's a level-headed fan thinking right now?
I think you take it, but with a grain of salt, because I think we've been waiting to see how this offense works when healthy, and I think you have a dynamic duo in Keyshawn Vaughn and Josh Ferguson at running back, and you want to see Lunt finally healthy and stay there, and you kind of saw what he could do today. Because I feel like even though he was a starter last year, there was always the idea of shuffling guys in and out, and maybe having an Aaron Bailey in on a play, and there wasn't really a solidified attempt to make sure Lunt was really, truly your starter, and then obviously injuries ensued between the offensive line and him, and it kind of threw away any hope of getting him a lot of reps last year. But he really looked comfortable, and has said all the right things all week with the Beckman firing, and is really confident in this offense. And you lose a guy like Dudek, you lose a guy like Hardy for these first couple of games, and it can worry you. But Geronimo Allison looked good today. Sammy Mays first touchdown for him, and a lot of guys stepped up and showed you that they can be reliable. It's just a matter of now you got to see that against bigger and tougher teams, and we're going to still have to wait a little bit for that. But overall, I think you take this as a positive. Everyone looked confident and comfortable. Just moving forward, you hope they continue it.